Good morning, everybody. How is everyone? This is Vincent Meza and Listings to Leads. Can you let me know, can you see my screen and can you hear me? If you could put it in the comments panel, I can read that real quick. Also, if you're new to us, please let me know how long you've been with us and how did you find us? How did you hear about us? Okay, you can hear us. Awesome. So yeah, if you can, let me know how long you've been with us and how did you hear about us. One thing I'd like to say, because I've been on the phone a lot this morning, and we're Listings to Leads. We've been here since 2009. And one thing that I heard from this agent today, I thought I better just say this right up front. You do not need listings to work with Listings to Leads, even though that's the name of our company, Listings to Leads. And how we started was actually with one tool. We'd been in the industry for quite a while. It was posting with Craigslist. So we could take a listing and get more leads, right? And so that was the name of the company. But things have changed. We've grown, and we actually, I think, are even more compelling to help agents get more listings. We have a lot of ways to do that. We're going to cover some of those ways today. And we also have tools to help you convert those listing leads into actual listings. Now, once we have, Lisa's not hearing anything. Lisa, let's see if I can, sorry. I don't know how to respond to Lisa, but anyway, it sounds like everybody can hear everything. We've got a listing presentation to help you close those. And then once you have listings, we've got a lot of automation, a lot of things to help you get those sold quickly. So let me know how long you've been with us, and let's kind of talk about the top things that I think everybody needs to think about. For me, there are 5 major parts of our platform that you need to be thinking of, okay? And I think it's true, especially if you want listings, but let's just talk about it. First, number 1, depends on where you are in the country. Thank you, Michael. Number 1, I think, is expired listings. Now, this doesn't happen all over the country, but there are many parts of the country where expireds are starting to hit the market. That's going to be a top way of getting listings if you're in that area, in that market. Open houses. Now, you wouldn't think of it, but open houses are actually a top way of getting more listings with our platform. I'm going to show you why. You'll know why. And then sold marketing, and you can sell a home with Facebook ads, postcards, nearby homeowner letters. All 3 of those actions are going to get you listing leads, okay? And once you've got listing leads, we've got an awesome listing presentation, and that's the number 4 thing. I'm holding one of those listing presentations in my hands, actually for expireds, but we'll see more inside the account. Our listing presentation is just going to help you convert those sellers. And then our Facebook ad software, right? So it's open houses, expireds, sold marketing, Facebook ads, and listing presentation. That's it. You don't have to listen to me yammer on for a year or for an hour. You can actually, that's what you need to be doing. And expireds, I can just tell you, that's the low-hanging fruit if it's in your market. Those people want to sell their home. So do they have to slow down to not sell? Yes, of course, right? But now you're going to find out you've got a tool to help engage those people. And that's what you definitely want to have. You want to find those kinds of homeowners, engage them into a conversation, and turn them into a listing. Boy, when it comes to expireds, we can totally help you. When it comes to open house marketing or just getting seller leads, we can help you. This lady here will tell you on our website, her first time she signed up with us, we created a listing presentation in 30 minutes just because she was brand new. We had to set up her account. Her very first meeting closes a listing appointment, right? We were able to create a custom audience. Now, these people here will tell you about Facebook ads. And I want to say that about Facebook ads, a lot of you, if you have any experience with Facebook, it might not have been very successful. And that's understandable because inside Facebook are a lot of options that are actually not designed to get you leads. They're designed to do things, show things, but not get you leads. When you're working with listings to leads, that's really our number 1 goal here. 1 is make it easy. And 2, let's get some leads, right? And that could be leads from email. That could be leads from print. That could be leads from your virtual tours or single property websites, from Facebook, from Google, from paid ads, from free content, all kinds of stuff here to help you get leads. Okay. And so you want to take advantage of those things, right? And I applaud you for being here on this call. If you're new to us, to take a little bit of time to understand what you have available to you now. If you're a client, this is a very serious platform. If you're just trying to learn about us, you're going to find that there's no company that is as effective at getting you more listings and getting you more buyers and helping you with social media and all your marketing needs for a basic cost of $5 a month. There's not even close, right? You might get one tool from another competitor for maybe 50, 60 bucks a month. That's just not even 10% of what we're doing here, literally, because there's a lot under the hood here. But I want you to focus on those 5 things because those are creating revenue for our clients right now in today's market, right? Be clear on that. So before we dive into all that, I want to point out we've got a lot of resources to help you because I've already had 2 cups of coffee here. And once I start going, it's going to get going pretty fast. And you're probably going to forget half of what I say. And that's why on this resources tab, there's a lot of valuable stuff for you. It's at the top page here. We've got live webinars. We've got our YouTube channel, and we've got our mastermind group and our Instagram, right? We've got a great support team down here on the bottom left there. Awesome team. You'll hear people talk about them all the time. They are so helpful. So when you click on live webinars, you're going to come to this calendar, and I definitely recommend that you get on this page to just see what we're talking about. Now, I mentioned expireds. We host 4 live expired workshops every week, okay? Today, we're doing a Get Started class. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about open houses. So I'm telling you, you got to do open houses if you want more listings. Scott's going to go in depth there on tomorrow. And then we'll have another expired workshop. And then we'll talk about our listing presentation. And you remember I was telling you that's one of the top 5 things that you need to be working on, right? You need to understand because our listing presentation, it doesn't necessarily create the listing lead, although you can certainly do that, but it definitely is one of the strongest tools you're ever going to find to close them. And I'll show you exactly why in just a minute. Expireds, and then later in the week, Facebook, and then seller lead capture, right? Seller. And so that's on our live calendar. And you can always find that up here on resources down here in the bottom left, right? There's also every class that we do, including this class, is recorded, okay? And so we'll pop that up. I'm going to turn my picture off here. You guys don't need to see my ugly mug, but I just want to make sure we are not using up the bandwidth here. Yeah, so you can hear me. You don't need to see me, though. So this is where all the recordings are. And you'll remember that there are 5 things that you need to get in your business, right? It's sold marketing, open house marketing, expired marketing, our listing presentation, and our Facebook, right? So what are we looking at here? Right here is sold marketing. Right here is top tools for more listings, which I'm going to be talking about the same thing here, right? FSBOs, if you're thinking of FSBOs, I definitely recommend thinking of FSBOs. We make it so easy to turn those into your business. Open house marketing is here and Facebook is here. So it's all right here on this page, right? It's on the videos page. You invest a little time to understand what you have available because this thing can definitely help you grow your business, okay? And then there's our mastermind group, right? And our mastermind group has it's not only where we talk about what's going on, it's where our clients talk about what's going on. They might have questions. They might say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And so there's a lot of good stuff here to give you ideas of things you can do because other agents are already doing it, right? So before we go further, I want to tell you this story. It gets a lot of traction. You see this here, 16 listings in 2 weeks. If you click on that, it's going to take you over to our YouTube channel. And if you scroll down here, you're going to see this guy tell you that he's got 16 listings in 2 weeks. He's over in Miami. Now, he launched with us in December. I had a one-on-one call with him in January. He asked me, hey, I want a team account, but what should I do with your account? And I told him, do these 5 things. If you listen to that call, you will see that he's doing partly what I was saying, but he's also doing something above and beyond on his own. What he will tell you is he's not doing anything else other than using our tools over and over, right? So it's definitely worthwhile. If you want to have more listings, you might want to watch this call. You also want to catch this call, which is down in the same month, a little bit below it. This gentleman's up in Boston. He closes 1 listing every week, okay? And he has 2 to 4 listing appointments every week. He does 3 things, okay? He works open houses to get seller leads. I'm going to show you why he's getting seller leads. He works expireds, calls expireds, and he works expires. And he markets sold properties with Facebook ads and postcards. Those 3 activities get him enough seller leads that he gets 80 physical listing presentations. I'm going to put my picture back on here in his market every month. Now, I've got one here that says how we're going to sell your expired home. We actually have a version that tells you it's the complete marketing plan to sell your home, right? So it's the same listing presentation. It just has a different cover, right? And I want to stress this to you because if you think you want more listings in your business, you want to start thinking, how do I get this listing presentation in homeowners' hands? You can order them on this link. That's first step, right? Now, that's one thing. You want to have them physically in your hands. You might want some standard ones at your open houses, right? You might want some expired ones if you're door knocking or calling expired homes. And that's how you do it. You order it here. You order your copies after you're set. I do want to say one thing about expired and open houses. A lot of people don't want to work expireds. And that's because when they learned about expireds, they assumed or were told, you got to call those people the first day it expires. That's actually a big mistake. That's actually a waste of your time because hundreds of people are calling those poor homeowners. You'll find that the best results, this gentleman door knocks 3 months after they expire. This guy leaves a voice message 3 months after they expire, both with the fact of, can I just meet you? Can I just knock on your door and meet you? Because then they're going to put one of these expired listing presentations in their hand. And they will both tell you it opens up invitations into the home and hour-long conversations. Everybody will tell you that about our listing presentation. It is just the game changer, okay? So don't be afraid of expireds. Learn the process. That's why we have 4 workshops every week. Learn how to do it. It's not a bunch of painful cold calling, okay? The other thing about open houses, as I talk to realtors every day, you can probably imagine that, right? I kind of feel if somebody's been in the industry, let's just say for more than 10 years, they will tell you, at least 50% of realtors will say, don't even talk to me about open houses. I do not do open houses, right? And if your open house involves putting a date and time in the MLS and waiting for people to bring buyers to you, we probably wouldn't recommend that either. But we have a way more robust way of working open houses. And as I mentioned earlier, Scott's holding a class on it. So I'm going to show you a couple things right here that you need to think about. And this is why so many of our teams hold 2 to 4 open houses every week, because they are meeting homeowners. Okay. And while I go on here and talk to you and you listen to all of our classes and our training, you're going to find we have a lot of ways of capturing leads. Okay. And if you're really lucky, you might talk to those leads in the first few days and you might actually get them into a contract. But Don't base your business on that, because that's not very realistic. What's realistic is it's going to take you months, if not years, to convert an online lead. But when you're holding an open house, there's a tool that you're actually giving to people, and you're inviting them to physically come and see this house, and more importantly, to meet you. Okay. And that's the big difference of open house marketing and expired marketing. When our clients reach out to a homeowner and put this expired listing presentation in their hand, these deals turn into transactions in a matter of weeks, if not just a few months. When you go run an ad and put something online or wherever to get a seller lead, that might literally take you 1, 2, 3 years to convert that, right? And so you want to think of, I want to market, I want to grow my business. How am I going to close business faster? The first thing I would do when it comes to an open house, and this is true for everybody, is run an ad. Click on this home has an open house, so I'm going to click Facebook, and it says open house in Danville. I want to make sure that I have the time on the top line, 1 to 4 p.m. Okay. Because the top 1 or 2 lines is what's seen on mobile. They'll see these photos and they'll see there's an open house. And all I got to do is click that, right? Click create ad. Now I'm going to click on this, not because you need to, but it's worth noting this. Let me ask you, has everybody here run ads? If you've run ads on Facebook, say yes. And let me know, was it successful or not? Because my guess is 50%. And this is from talking to realtors since 2009. 50% of you have actually run ads on Facebook. 10 to 20% might have actually gotten some leads. Doesn't mean you converted them. Right, yeah. Yeah, here, Patterson Realty, yes, no results. There are a lot of options in Facebook, okay? Most of those options chew up your money and do not give you contact information. And here, every lead, every ad you run with us, when it says lead forms, their name is automatically filled in, their email and their phone number from Facebook. People are not typing that in, okay? Now, what's also cool is we give some questions right before that. What's your time frame to buy? Do you have a home to sell? And what would be most helpful? If you go over here, you can see there are other questions. I want to be clear about this. You see this one, what's your time frame to buy? You would think that's really useful. These are the options. Just streaming, 1 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, right? And I actually am not a fan of this question. And I'll tell you why. Because most people say just dreaming. And what that actually means is don't call me, right? I want this information, but don't bother me, right? And a lot of our agents, a lot of our clients know this, and they call them anyway. And they put them in homes in 30 and 60 days, right? Because they're looking because they see your ad, they're clicking because they're interested. But really, what's most important, is it in the area at the price point that I need? And if you can text that conversation and get that to them, you can move them. Just dreaming basically means don't call me, right? Now, if they say 1 to 3 months or 1 to 3 months or 6 to 12, well, I actually got to get involved. They're serious, right? And they're telling you. So those are the questions there. Like I said, this is fully filled in by Facebook, so nobody's typing anything in. There's some privacy language. And then we say, great, go check out the listing, right? So a few of you have answered and said, yes, I've done it. No real business from it. I totally understand that, right? I talk to a lot of agents. Scott talks to a lot of agents. And as I talk to teams, I feel like teams structurally really put a focus on converting leads, right? Most agents really don't do that. If they call them once or twice, that's about it. But online leads take a time to convert, right? But I will say this, our clients convert 1 to 5, 1 to 6% of those Facebook leads. The ones that do it are actually using either our AI software for follow-up or some other CRM to follow up. I am already a client. I need to help ads and getting them produced. Oh, This, you'll learn about this. I see a question here about how to, there is a class later this week on straight up Facebook ads, but we'll talk about this question here. I need to run ads and get them to produce. And that's exactly what we're talking about right here. Because when you run an ad, and I'm actually showing you form, and those questions are very important because you choose the questions, and when they answer, you know exactly what they're talking about, right? So when this, I think the thing that you want to think of is, are these questions relevant to the ad I'm running? And there are different questions if you have a buyer ad or a seller ad. But now you're going to get name, email, and phone number with each one. And so here's the thing that this Patterson group is telling us is we need them to produce. And when you get a lead from us, from your Facebook ad, it's going to say buyer lead or seller lead, from listings to leads, and they come from Facebook and this property. So you're going to get name, email, and phone number, and you're going to think, I got to call them right now. There's their phone, bang, call. We send that lead to you probably 5 seconds after we get it. Okay. And you would be surprised, if not disappointed, that they're going to say to you, I don't know what you're talking about, because they don't really want to be talking to people who they don't know. I don't know if you've heard this, but there's a lot of scams in this world today. There's scams in your email. I get scams in my text throughout the day. And Lord knows how many phone calls I get from spam, scam stuff, right? So that's the world we live in. So I would not call them until you have texted them at least 4 or 5 times with simple little questions. Hey, did you see, I noticed that you saw my ad today on Facebook. Did you get all the information that you need? Take this single property website. I'm speaking to you now. Save it on your phone and text it to them when you get that lead. That's the first thing you should do, right? And then after that, say, hey, by the way, that open house is, do not write a big paragraph and drop it on somebody's phone. Okay. No, nobody wants that. Right. And then say, hey, this is a 3-2, right? Does that meet your needs? It's 500 grand. Is that too much? Is that your price point? You want to text your leads a handful of times before you call them. So that way you can say, hey, I'm Vince and you saw my ad and I'm trying to help you. You have a couple minutes. Let's see what you're looking for. If you call them straight away, 990 times out of 1,000, they're going to say, I don't know what you're talking about. Just get you off the phone because they don't know who you are. And you can't blame them because there's way too many scams in this world, right? That's going to help you, all of you, convert leads. Now, I will say this about our Facebook ad software. This is the number one way you're going to get name, email, and phone number from any lead anywhere. Okay. There's a lot of tools. We look at listing marketing here. We do free social media posts. We post it for free. It looks just like an ad. There's even a landing page. They can click on that and you can get free leads. You're probably not going to get their phone number. Okay. There's a nearby homeowner letter. This is open house. This is the reason right here why our clients get more listings from their open houses than any other activity. Okay. There's a lot of activities, a lot of actions that you can take to get seller leads in our system. Literally, probably more than 100. But you got to turn those into a transaction. And that is a whole nother can of worms. If you take this piece of paper that says, I got an open house, and you print it 100 times and you give it to the neighbors, you might get a few homeowners coming by to look at that home, either to buy it or to sell it. This is a much better action for you to take because you're meeting people who are thinking of selling. That's really the point. This is the nearby homeowner letter. It's available on every one of the listings in your account, even if you borrow the listing. You remember when I was telling you about this guy over in Miami who closed 16 listings in 2 weeks? That gentleman there, he borrows listings from other agents that are super good looking luxury listings. And he takes this piece of paper and he mails it around those listings, right? The first few blocks the first week, the next few blocks the second week, and then another wider ring. He is mailing a piece of paper on borrowed listings into his market, and he is closing 16 listings in 2 weeks. He's closed listings with us before then, and he's still closing more listings. Okay. So I want to stress this because we're not talking about algorithms or AI or cloud computing. We're talking about a piece of paper. And that gentleman is using a piece of paper on borrowed listings and closing more listings than anybody we have seen in the 16 years of doing this, 17 years of doing this, right? When we talk about Facebook ads, yes, I can tell you, here's a better way to convert. Here's some things you can maximize. But if you're talking about signing contracts and closing transactions and getting commissions, you might want to look at this nearby homeowner letter and our listing presentation, because these are basically moneymakers, right? If we go down here, there's an e-flyer for your database. And if you have a CRM with hundreds or thousands of leads, you should look at getting this on your CRM, right? So if I click here, let me turn off my camera again. If I click here, I can copy this with a signature, right? Copy for follow-up boss here. That link and that link are going to get me buyer leads. This link and this link are going to drive to home value page and get me listing leads. So one email is designed to get you all kinds of leads. I want to go back to this guy again. Remember how I told you he was borrowing listings and he prints up this piece of paper? He also takes the property that he is borrowing and he blasts it out on his CRM. For every borrowed listing, he blasts out that same listing to his audience 3 times a week. Okay. So we auto-generate these tools. He's borrowing the listing and he takes the tool and he blasts it out into CRM 3 times a week. Then he takes the same link and he blasts it out on his WhatsApp group. He's got a WhatsApp group of people who he does a Monday morning chat about real estate, and people who are interested, they follow him, right? I will say in his CRM, he has 14,000 leads. And that's why he blasts it out 3 times a week, because he never knows where they're going to be at that any given point at the time of the week, right? He's using a CRM. He's using his WhatsApp group. He's mailing out nearby homeowner letters more than any other agent that I've ever seen working with us. And he's running ads on Facebook for just listed, open house, and sold. You might want to hear that, but that's the short story of what that gentleman is doing. Okay. And what's nice is it's all right there. You don't have to think of, oh, how else? That's a winning formula right there, right? Yes, we do create single property websites that capture leads. We do create virtual tours that capture leads. We have an open house sign-in form. And yeah, you can say, hey, we would love your feedback. Would you fill this out and then give us your email on the next page? And I will send you a single property website. And you can, that's a great way of you to capture leads. We're going to send you a lead because they filled that out. We do have, of course, listing flyers. And we also have sign writers. If you like text codes or QR codes, you can download these designs. We have a printer over here, dirt cheap signs here, but you can use these. And when people text you, we send you their phone number right there. If you're a blogger, got that covered. Craigslist, yes. Every property has its own QR code, and every property we create a virtual tour for automatically. We create a virtual tour and we upload it to YouTube. So when it comes to listing marketing, it's frankly, not many people can do what I just shown you, right? They can't do all those things. And if they are, they're doing it either by hand, or maybe they have some automation, but we do a whole lot for every listing, right? So if you're reaching out and you're doing sold, you're working sold, you're working expireds, you're working open houses, you're going to get seller leads, right? So we've talked a little bit about the open house. Let's look at a sold and let's talk about what's going on here. Now, I'll go back here and we'll talk about that guy here who has 2 to 4 listing appointments every week. When he's marketing sold, there's only 2 things he's doing. He's running a Facebook ad. And this ad, because the home is sold, it says that home is sold. That affects your home value. Click here for your home value. That is the point of this ad. Okay. And if I click in this box here, I might say, if I sold above asking, I would put it up here in the top 2 lines, right? If you got multiple offers, put it there. If you sold it quick, put it up on the top line. That will get more people to click this ad. That's important to homeowners, like if you can do something like this. And some of you have been able to do this even in today's market. So that guy who has 2 to 4 listing appointments every week, he runs this ad on every sold property, and he mails out postcards. Now, here's express copy. And if you have an account with them, you could say, connect it, and it'll say print and email, print and mail. And you could say, hey, express copy, mail this out in a 1, 2, 3 mile radius. And you download it, express copy, and you mail it to people that own single family homes for more than 6 years. You can do that with postcards, or you can do that with nearby homeowner letters. Okay. Now, the guy who does 1 listing per week, he is only mailing out postcards, right? This gentleman here is mailing out nearby homeowner letters. I don't think express copy, from my understanding, can do that kind of work where it's first 2 blocks, then 3 blocks, and then 4 blocks, right? But this will definitely get it out to your zip codes and stuff like that. Okay. So for me, there's a lot of things that you can do with a sold property, but the things that you absolutely want to do is get something out in print, get a Facebook ad. And also, if you got any sort of leads in your CRM, copy this code here and blast it out on your leads in your CRM. Okay. I actually think you can send it to your leads right here, your seller leads, just by clicking that button and click send now. So you can, if you just have leads in our system, you can let them know right here, right? Let people know about your sold properties with our platform. My Lord, I don't even think 5% of realtors market sold properties. And if they do, it's a static image that has no lead capture. If you're a client of ours, please use our system to help you get leads from your sold marketing. Okay. So sold is pretty easy. I did mention that Scott is doing a class on that later this week. So there are more great things you can do, and I would definitely take advantage of that. So we know what to do with sold. We know what to do with open houses. Let us talk about expireds a little bit. Now, I've kind of said this, but I want to make sure you're all aware, because if expireds are happening in your market at any level, you want to reach out to them. This young lady here, I want to tell you, she's 5 years out of high school. Okay. I think she's maybe going to be a realtor coming up on 2 years. So she didn't know much about expireds. She just saw our tools and she's like, I'm going to call those people on day 1. On day 1, I'm going to call them. And that's not what we recommend, because those poor homeowners are getting called by hundreds of agents. But she leaves 2 voice messages. They don't respond. She texts them 1 time. They don't respond. Then she goes into the system and she creates a custom listing presentation, which I said is one of the top 5 things. And she texts it over to them. And she says, hey, if you're thinking of selling, please click this link to see how I sell homes. And you got to imagine you're talking to an expired home. They got their address and name on the cover, and that's their house. And this says, here's how I'm going to sell your expired home. And it shows them what we do automatically. It doesn't talk about listings leads. It's got your headshot, your logo. But this is what we do with every listing, right? So now you're able to convey this to a homeowner, and they're seeing something that they didn't see when they tried to sell their home last time, right? This is so compelling, whether it's in print or in a digital format like this. This is opening up hour-long conversations with homeowners. And let me tell you, nobody wants to talk to you for an hour unless they're seriously thinking about selling their home. Okay. So please get it in your mindset. If you want more listings, how are you going to get more listing presentations, whether they're just straight standard or whether they are for FSBOs or for expireds, or maybe you're getting seller leads from sold.com. I don't know. There's all kinds of ways of getting seller leads, but to get a lead into a conversation and into a listing contract, you want to realize that this is probably going to be your best friend right here. I've got another one for a FSBO. We've even got a landing page to go out and engage FSBOs. But right here, I've got a listing presentation that is going to turn that lead into an actual listing, right? So we'll let that bake. That's got to kind of generate a little bit here. That kind of brings me over to the landing page. So let me talk about a little bit of what else is in listings leads, because I keep talking about same 5 things. And there are a lot of tools here that you can definitely benefit from, right? There's a whole landing page section. And when you are here, the number one landing page is free home values is automatically embedded in many of the tools in your account, right? So if that doesn't look like your area, you see this little button here with a pencil, that means you can edit it. And from here, you can say, hey, I want to change the background picture, because a lot of our clients are in areas that do not look like that, from Seattle to Vermont to Arizona and even parts of Florida. It doesn't look like this, right? So you want a picture that looks like your area right over here. If you want to say, what is my Idaho home worth? Click over here on lead form text and put the word Idaho right there. This page is auto embedded in many of your tools, right? But we also have a lot of other landing pages, down payer assistance. If you get in our mastermind group, you will see a lot of clients get leads from this page. There's an iBuyer landing page, and you can create any kind of landing page in your account. I have a lot of home value ones, right? After you've created a landing page, you can click marketing tools and you can run ads on Facebook. You can run ads on Google. You can share them for free on social media. You got an e-flyer for your database. You got print tools, postcards. It's all there for you, right? Everything is branded to you. Everything has some sort of call to action. If it's in print, there's already a QR code. You really don't need to think about all this stuff. We're just teeing it up and making it easy for you. Okay. So the goal, I think, that you want to walk away from here is, what are the parts of this platform that I need to get into my business? And look at your business of what you're doing with it today, and look at what tools are here that you can use, because everything we do has call to action, even if it's in print, right? Scan, get to a page and become a lead, right? That's what we're doing here at Listings to Leads. And there's a lot here. We could go back and look at all the sorts of things that we can do. But I think at this point, I would like to bring us back a little bit more on the listing presentation and talk about setting up your account. So we were trying to look at this FSBO one here. So let's see if it's ready for us, because sometimes it just takes a second for it to generate. And I'm going to click Flipbook, and here we are. We're just coming back here. So we actually have a landing page that you can run ads on Google, and you can have a postcard and a door hanger, and it'll get people to become a FSBO lead for you, right? And once you've done that, we've auto-generated a listing presentation that says how the complete marketing plan to sell your home. And you can text this over to them at the right time, not immediately. And again, this is our listing presentation showing those people how you sell homes with, doesn't mention our company, but if you're using our system to get FSBO leads, you've got a great tool to convert those leads. Now, I do want to point out that you have a generic one sitting, this is generic or standard. It's right here in your account. If you go to listings and you go to listing presentation and you click on listing presentation flipbook, it's right here. So this one has like stock images of homes, right? So it's not specific to one homeowner. However, this thing is solid. This works really well for our clients. You at least have that in your hand. Now, I want to point out one more thing because you see, I'm on listings and I mentioned open houses. So, a lot of you who are new or don't have your own listings, you might want to sit on an open house for other agents. I talk to a lot of agents who are part of teams where they can just sit on anybody's open house, right? So, what do you do in that case? You go here to listings, you click on add listing, you click grab listing, you drop in the zip code and MLS ID, deselect this so we don't make a YouTube, and grab it. And it pulls it in. And now you can market all these tools, and those tools are designed to get leads to you. Okay. So, and you can also do that. You can bring it, you can borrow listings that are sold. I think somebody asked me, like, I'm helping a person buy a home. So I know it's going to close. Can I market that as sold? And as long as the rules are good for you, yeah, of course. We have a lot of clients doing that. So let's take a pause here and think about what you've seen so far and let me know if you have any questions on that. But now I want to talk about what do you do? What happens if you sign up, right? And if you're not a client, I want to make sure everybody's aware our pricing is basically $95 a month to month, no annual contract. You can just sign up right here with a 2-week free trial. And everything that I'm showing you, including more, is all in the part of the trial, right? But once you've done that, you go there, you put in your name and email, and then it says, where's your credit card? We hold that for a couple weeks. And then it says, where's your information? Where is your headshot? And what's your phone number? And then it says, where is your logo? And what color scheme do you have? We have all the palettes for a lot of the national brands, but if you're not in here, you can choose your own color scheme. If you need your office number or website, you add it there. If not, don't worry about it. This is where you connect your social media to allow us to auto post your listings. If you connect YouTube, we're going to create a virtual tour and put it on your YouTube channel. Then we say, hey, connect to Facebook so you can run ads in 2 clicks. We were talking about that. Then give us your email so we can auto sweep your listings and auto post them to your social media accounts and create a bunch of tools and email it to you, right? Then you can choose what CRM you're using. If you don't have a CRM, use our drip campaign up here. It's great. And import your reviews and you are all done. Okay. Your account, all the automation is set up at that point, right? And now you can decide, do I need more buyer leads or do I need more seller leads? And if you need buyer leads, let me ask this question to everybody as you're on the call. Like, I would say 50% of the people who are calling me today, or maybe 60, are telling me they are dead in the water. Like, they'll say, hey, I used to have a great referral business, but I don't know, the market is slow and I need to do something. 5 to 10% of you are calling me and saying, I have a lot of listings and they're not selling, and I need to show the homeowner that I'm doing something. I need to get these homes sold. So where do you fit in there? And is there something that you're thinking of that I'm not talking about? So let's talk about the agents who would like to have buyers and the agents who have listings that need to get the home sold, right? First things first, you got to run Facebook ads. And I have an active home here for sale. You could do this with an active or an open house. So I'm going to click on market listing and I'm going to do a Facebook ad. Now, I'll point out there's a whole bunch of other tools here, right? There's stuff you can blast on your CRM. There's print things, right? But what's going to get you name, email, and phone number more than a Facebook ad? The answer is nothing, right? And I know you get leads from Zillow and other great companies. Lord knows what you're going to pay. You're still going to have a conversion rate that's questionable, right? Here, when I run an ad like this, these leads cost around $3.50, maybe $4 each. Okay. So if you're spending $35 and they're charging you $3.50 a lead, you're going to get 10 leads with name, email, and phone number. Now you have a better idea of how to convert them, right? Because we talked about that earlier. Text them. Other cool ways of capturing leads, but you're just not going to get phone numbers like a Facebook ad, right? So if you're sitting on listings, and I will say this too, a lot of our clients come from the Sun Belt, so the southern states, right? And the southern states had a massive influx during COVID. And that really drove up prices from Arizona to Texas to Florida and in between, and even Tennessee. You're living through that. And now, fast forward to today, you've got interest rates that are close to 7%. And that's really affecting how fast things are moving in your markets. So when you're thinking about your inventory and you're trying to get that to move, and you're in one of those states, you might want to try this, because if it's in like Phoenix, Arizona, the ad's going to show in Phoenix, Arizona. You say, oh, I want 30 miles or whatever. Or you can say, hey, I'm going to not advertise that. I'm going to advertise that home in Los Angeles. Or I'm going to advertise that home in Chicago, right? Or New York City. We have a lot of clients in Florida. And I've helped agents run an ad in Florida, like with a waterfront home, beautiful, 1.5 million, gets leads from Florida, people living in Florida. 5 minutes later, they run the exact same ad in New York City, gets leads for a third of the cost per lead, a third of the cost, which is kind of mind-boggling, honestly, because anything in New York is always more expensive. The price per lead is set by Facebook. And I think in Florida, because the inventory is so high, that agents are leaning on the Facebook ads and it's driving the price up. Okay. But the short answer, or the reason why I'm showing you this, is you can target your homes in other areas, right? I'm in Northern California. If I had a home up in Lake Tahoe where there's beautiful homes, I would want to market that down in Silicon Valley, where they print up millionaires like every month there. So if I was in a second home area and I wanted to market in the big business area, you would do that. If I had a home that was north of $1 million in Florida, I would market it in New York City. I would market it in Chicago, right? If I was in Arizona, Las Vegas, I might market those homes in places like Southern California, right? There are different examples, right? Some of you live in smaller towns and there are bigger business towns and you're like, people move out there. So you can do that with this software, super easy, right? That's what you do if you need buyers. Now, there's a lot of other cool tools. You can share them all over the place. They won't give you as many results, and definitely not with name, email, and phone number, right? Lots of tools. Everything that we create. Virtual tour. Let's just go look at the virtual tour here. If you're investing in videography, you're paying a videographer to come do a virtual tour, you can snap that into your listing. On this, because of the colors, like this button here, it just keeps going. These are all call to actions asking for their contact information. This is a virtual tour. If you're paying a videographer to do a virtual tour, there is zero lead capture there, right? This thing is loaded with lead capture here, right? So you want to think about your business, because if you need more leads in your business, you need to grow your business. You need to talk to more people. And unless you're really strong at meditating and getting people to call you, you need to find a way to get some more leads, right? And there are lots of ways with listings to leads, whether it's a buyer lead or whether it's a seller lead. And of course, you have ways and tools to help you convert those leads into conversations and business. So I want to remind you, because I don't see any more questions, that there is a lot to listings to leads. And I can tell you, because we get in our mastermind group, we do a lot of live training, we get a lot of feedback from our clients, and we have seen people grow dramatically, if not insanely. Like, we've seen people go from rookie to being large team, 25 agents. I've seen a person go from moving from one state to another, becoming the top listing agent in a large Keller Williams office, spinning out and starting his own company within 2 years, right? That is because those agents have figured out what tools help their business. And those tools are in here. So If you are trying to grow your business, whether it's going to be all about getting buyers or all about getting more listings, you have not found a more powerful platform. I hope this is helping you. If you have questions, if you need a team account, first of all, sorry I didn't mention this. I'm Vince at listingstoleads.com. Email me. I set up with brokerages and teams around the country. We've got a great support team down here. Scott does a lot of live training. Get on our live training calls. And if you don't have time for that, everything is recorded and put on our YouTube channel, right? And I showed you the classes that I think everybody should look at right at the top of the page, right? Don't forget, there are a lot of tools to help you get more listings or to help you get more leads. But if you're trying to close transactions, you got to think about how you're going to be shaking hands with people, right? And I don't mean out at the bar and flipping out your business card and saying you're a realtor. People who are thinking of buying and thinking of selling, you need to meet them. Capturing an email is cool, but you need to meet them, right? So I don't see any questions. So I appreciate your time here. I hope this is helpful to you. We have more classes this week, but literally everything that I'm looking at right here, you need to look at, right? If you want your business to grow, these things are working today in today's market for our clients right now. So thanks a lot, everybody. I'm glad you were here. This call is being recorded. It'll be up on the YouTube channel either later today or no later than tomorrow. If you need a team account, you can find me on our website. And yeah, I think my contact info is right here. But good luck with everything, right? Enjoy the rest of the summer and let's get cooking. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.